Can you make a creepypasta about the game Undertale?
Sure. Here's a creepypasta about the game Undertale. Title: The Haunting of Undertale, a game of survival. One day a YouTube content creator named Matt Pat found a mod hack for the game, Undertale, on a sketchy website. There were no screenshots, there wasn't a description for the modification, only a download link. He downloaded the mysterious, Undertale.exe, and opened the game. The game started as usual, except that after the title screen there was no music, and you were playing as Toriel. He started exploring the ruins. However, something was off from the very beginning. The atmosphere was heavy with an unsettling ambiance, and the graphics were distorted, as if the very world itself was corrupted. As Toriel ventured deeper into the ruins, they were pursued relentlessly by a sinister entity that had taken the form of the human. This malevolent being was unlike any other, wearing a malevolent grin and their eyes glowing with an otherworldly light. Toriel could never escape their grasp, no matter how hard she tried. There was nowhere left to run and the being cornered Toriel, but before she could say anything the being set Toriel on fire. There was an ear-piercing scream for 30 seconds straight, then there was silence as the screen faded to black. Next, Matt Pat found himself in Snowdon controlling Papyrus. The once joyful town had become a frozen wasteland, with eerie music playing in the background. Papyrus's optimism was replaced by a deep sense of dread as they navigated the chilling landscapes. The being hunted them down with a relentless determination, always lurking just out of sight until Papyrus got to the invisible maze room. However, there was no maze until he made it halfway through, then he got shocked. He tried turning back and he got shocked again. Papyrus could no longer move and was forever trapped in a small area where if he moved the smallest bit he would get electrocuted, not killing him but torturing him for the rest of his life. In Waterfall, as Undyne, the encounter took a harrowing turn. Instead of the usual battles, Undyne found herself pursued by the being, who mirrored her every move with a malevolent glee. No matter how fast Undyne ran or how fiercely she fought, she could not shake the relentless presence of her pursuer. Eventually Undyne ran to Hotland where she fainted. As she was stuck on the ground the being came from behind and stabbed her head with her own spear. However, instead of turning to dust she stayed alive and was screaming until the screen went black. Hotland became a nightmarish labyrinth as Matt Pat assumed the role of Alphys. The once familiar lab was filled with eerie experiments, and Alphys' own voice guided players with cryptic warnings and ominous prophecies. The being's looming presence added to the tension, creating an overwhelming sense of anxiety. The being went to Alphys and brought Undyne. Then the being fused Undyne and Alphys into one being. They had become Alphys' failed experiment, the Amalgamate. Metation's glamorous stage in the core had transformed into a dark and desolate theater. Matt Pat had to solve eerie puzzles while being pursued by the being, who seemed to revel in the torment they inflicted. As Metation reached the end of the core, the being was already there waiting there for him. Metation tried to get away, but the being easily caught up to them, and proceeded to destroy Metation's robotic body by ripping it to shreds. Metation was then thrown off the core and was put into an endless falling state. Now you can only hear their screams as it is impossible to see him anymore. In the Judgment Hall, as Sans, the encounter was surreal and eerie. The being's presence weighed heavily on them, and Matt Pat had to fight the being as Sans. He knew that if he got hit once it was over for him. The tension was palpable, but in the end, Sans grew tired and met his fate, but instead of killing him, the being put Sans in an endless loop of being slammed into walls. One of Sans' signature attacks was being used on him. Finally, at the barrier, Asgore stood beside Flowey, who remained eerily silent. The being approached slowly, and a sense of impending doom hung in the air. The being didn't kill them, they did something much worse. They transformed Flowey into Azrael and played with the dreamer's emotions. Asgore got to see his son, who he thought was long gone, and started crying, hugging his only child. Azrael did the same as the being took their souls away from their bodies and put them in a jar where they would be trapped forever in. The mod hack of Undertale finally concluded and it left Matt Pat speechless. He did not know what to say or think. Matt Pat went crazy and was put in an insane asylum. No one believed his story as the website he found this strange mod hack on never existed in the first place, and there was no file of the mod hack on his computer.